And how about a piece of good cultural news for a change? We have the Balangiga bells finally coming home today after a century after they were taken by American soldiers as a war trophy during the Philippine-American War. Let's take a look back at the bloody history that had been a sticking point between Washington, D.C. and Manila.
Give us back those Balangiga bells.
President Duterte demanded the return of the Balangiga bells in his second State of the Nation address last year. He said the church bells are part of Philippine heritage. He made the appeal in the presence of U.S. Ambassador Song Kim, citing the painful history that burned the bells into the country's national consciousness and heritage.
Those bells are reminders of the gallantry and heroism of our forebears, who resisted the American colonizers and sacrificed their lives in the process. Krag against Bolo. Krag was the standard rifle issue to the American troops. And that is how the historians describe. Many historians describe the Philippine-American War. That is why I say today, give us back those Balangiga bells. They are ours. They belong to the Philippines. They are part of our national heritage. Isauli naman ninyo, masakit yun sa amin.
However, it is for the same reason that American troops took the bells as war trophies during the Philippine-American War at the start of the 20th century. Americans burned entire villages and killed over 2,500 Filipinos in Samar back in 1901. That tragic event has been called the Balangiga Massacre. The American GIs were avenging the loss of their comrades earlier, in what has been touted as the United States' worst military defeat in their 20th century occupation of the Philippine Islands. On September 28, 1901, one of the three church bells tolled in the port town of Balangiga to signal a surprise attack on unsuspecting American soldiers. 48 U.S. servicemen died in the hands of bolo-wielding insurgents. U.S. Army veteran and historian J.P. Lawrence narrated in his account that the American troops brought the bells home with them to, quote, commemorate their lost men or perhaps to avenge them. The bells had since been kept in various American military bases. Prior to its return to the Philippines, two bells were kept in Wyoming and one in an army base in South Korea. They were part of a memorial that honors the battle in Balangiga.
The two bells in Wyoming actually formed part of a memorial for fallen U.S. service members. And the concern was removing that would take away from that memorial. And lives were lost on both sides. And it's never easy to give up something that you see as a memorial to people who did pass away.
Previous administrations have also sought the return of the bells to Samar. Former President Fidel Ramos also asked the Bill Clinton administration to return the spoils of war. Such requests and demands were met with resistance from U.S. lawmakers though, especially those governing Wyoming. They insisted the bells are part of American heritage, as it housed an integral part of their war memorials. Regime after regime, the Balangiga bells were considered an irritant footnote in an otherwise friendly U.S.-Philippine alliance for the past century.
There have been a number of presidents who have worked on the return of the Balangiga bells, a number of secretaries of defense, a number of Philippine and U.S. ambassadors. It's been decades worth of work and decades worth of U.S. veterans protesting the return of the bells. So there were some legal issues. It really it's time. I think it's time for the bells to come back, but it was not due to any particular event or any particular statement. People have been working for this for many, many years.
This is why U.S. Ambassador Sung Kim now believes that the return of the bells to its home in the Philippines would mark a strengthened deep respect between the people of the Philippines and the United States. In a correspondence published by the Philippine Star, Kim added that as the country's ally and friend, the U.S. will forever honor and respect this shared history. Philippine Ambassador to the U.S. Babe Romualdez believes that President Duterte may have played a huge role for the return of Balangiga's treasures.
The relationship between the Philippines and the United States, is, especially with the military alliance, is very important for both the U.S. and the Philippines. So Secretary Matis made it clear that this is the right thing to do for that relationship. Parang we respect the sovereignty of the Philippines, mutual respect.
President Duterte won't attend the arrival of the bells later today, but he said he will personally visit Balangiga for the official turnover ceremony on December 15. Just De Los Santos, We Are One News.